طاف كل شيء لله يا نورا من نور الله يا مصطفى كل شيء لله يا نورا من نور الله يا خاتم الأنبياء يا سيد المرسلين يا خاتم الأنبياء يا سيد المرسلين ألف صلوا على النبي خاتم رسل الكرام ألف صلوا على النبي خاتم رسل الكرام محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله محمد رسول الله
أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا وسهلا وحياكم الله وكل عام وأنتم بخير. اليوم 26 من صفر 1447 هجري والموافق يوم الخميس. It is the 25th of Safar, the 26th of Safar, the final Thursday of the month of Safar. It's a fasting day in our lifestyle modulations and patterns. And mashallah, tabarakallah, it is auspicious moments in life to understand what your purpose is, to understand where you're going to spend the next 5 billion years, in whose company, and how it is possible if you knew the one word of Allah, the one name of Allah that nobody can substitute. There's one name that many of us are unfamiliar with in our lives. Okay? We say it the very least because of the chemicalized lies and lifestyles that we are addicted, and we have been psychologically living in that low profile of a a so-called reality. Let's put it that way. Okay, in that reality, people, you must come to understand. If you're in sub A, the stories that you're going to learn in sub B is going to be the very reflection of the opposite of the stories that you believed in sub A. Okay. Now, most of us that are above 45 years old today in our lives, okay, so you mostly are in the 70s and 80s. So you have no excuse in this new edition of a transition in life. Okay, you have no justification not to have been on the street. Okay, people. You didn't need to know. You didn't need to master a language. You just had to keep to your mother tongue. Okay. You never had to go all other places in the world. You just have to stick to your sovereign cultural orientations. Okay. What your mothers, what your community had tutored you all their lives. Okay. This was the basic trial, the ibtila'un hasanun. If you read through Surah Al-Anfal, okay, you will come to embrace the fact that this is the end game that you are currently living through. Many of us do not understand end because we don't know and believe and understand and being programmed in by Allah, by our great mothers, by our cultural sovereign fund to reboost and to restart. We don't know. We've never been taught this in our curriculums in our schools, but this was the promise. This was a heavenly promise, people. This was always in the Quran. Okay, the reset is a psychological one. It is conscious. It is not physical. You're not going to see it. If you are in hell, you don't know what is happening in heaven, people. Okay? Come to terms with that. Many of our parents did not make it across. Okay? Across to what? To the new conscious, people. But what is important here is that you and I have never been ill-treated by them, nor have we been shortchanged. Okay? They completed their cycle and it ended. Whether they had realized that they took their children down with them, or whether their children could jump out in time before they went down with the lost civilization. Okay? In psychology, we are speaking today about. Okay? We're speaking about your level of intelligence, your level of perception, and the one name, the one ism of the Asma'ul Husna that most of us are unaware of. And we use it like maybe once in our life because we're too afraid. If we use it, it will ignite our lives. It will emancipate those in our vicinity. Okay? I will tell you that name at the end, inshallah ta'ala. You can start using your gambling machine and making sure that you have used it at least once in your life on your tongue. Okay? But more importantly, what we want to end of the month of Safar on this Thursday today, because Sunday they're going to be sighting the moon, because the likelihood of Monday or Sunday evening being Rabiul Awwal is very strong. Okay, so mashallah tabarakallah, it's a Monday, so it's going to work perfectly on the calculation of the cosmic alignments. Okay, as I said, as we say that this Rabi'a is no ordinary Rabi'a. This is no ordinary season of Mawlud. When I listen to what the great mothers of the city is putting in for this coming season, people, okay? it is in our DNA. Okay, those who are from the ancient house, those of us who are from whose mothers, whose great mothers are from the ancient house, in this the year of the field, the year that we had been taught by the last generation that it was the year of the elephant that the prophet was born. But then we came to rediscover that that story was a fatal deception in the interpretation of the book, because that was the children of Yaqub that attempted to bury Yusuf, okay, and played the prank on them, on him, and on us, and on their father, okay, to make them believe that this was the real story. But then when we came to discover that they were falsifying a narrative and we were stuck to that timeline in conscious, that killed that God. Okay? Must understand, people. This work in this age, this lifestyles that we live, this formulas, this systems, this governments, this, it's all installed by humans. Okay? Your monetary system, your banking system, your food system, your municipality system, and it's your entertainment, it's all human costed, people. Okay, there's no God in that world. Come on, yani, you're going to face the brunt of the truth here. Okay, as a civilization, you have to be accountable to Allah in the presence of your children, because they are innocent. It's you that messed up their understanding of who they were. Okay, it's important that the parents take not acknowledgement of this, because die kinders gaan nie na Allah toe, yani, om te complain or something but nonsense as sê. Hulle gaan na Allah en Allah maak die deur oop as Allah weet hulle praat die waarheid, broers. Okay? Now, if your children, yani the new age children now had decoded the Quran's secrets, if they now have, as Allah says, Yawma ya'ti ta'wilu, if they have the understanding in opposition to what the Arabs, to what the Vatican, to what the Palestinians, to all these people that they have told us all the years, we discovered that there was a major manipulation and a misrepresentation of the word of Allah. Okay? Now that means that the past age had been compromised. Okay? The religions were commercialized, as you all know. When money gets into something, people, it either it makes it fast, it spoils it. As the geld in die kerke gaan en in die masjids gaan en in die synagogues gaan, when money, which is a magic spell, because money is something that you people have lost your understanding of what money was. We create money. It's paper. It's a promissory note. It's things that we control, but it controlled us at the end. And we saw our mothers becoming the slaves of something that was really badly marketed. And then, unfortunately, we became the slaves of those gods, okay, and that masters. Now, the end days is the exit of the God colonization and the religious hegemony. Okay, yeah. So as time comes now, your children that comes from your backbones, from your spines, from your environment, they will now come to educate themselves with the will of Allah, to understand how misguided their parents were, how captured they were as to the Quran, people. This is from Allah. This is not from another government or another superior nation that you made your children believe that they are inferior and another nation is superior. You parents taught your children and gave them that kind of acquisition to believe that they are inferior, okay, in the eyes of God, right? It was generational curses. We don't hold anybody responsible. We're just speaking something which you forgot, that is one of the names of Allah that you never wanted to teach us. Okay? Now, your children had to do the impossible when they found that there was a glitch in the matrix, in the reality, then they could discover that there was not a consistency in their mother's and father's story about who Allah is, where we come from, and where we are returning to. Okay? So when we discovered that they were busy with idolatry, with idols, with money magic, with blood magic, with swimming in guilt and doubt and fear, then we realize that this is not our family in blood. This is not our family. This is our family in blood, but it's not our family in soul, in ruh, people. What you will come to discover for those of us that are being upgraded in their conscious, in their mental capacities, in their intellectual abilities, we cannot give you these accolades. We cannot give you this upgrades. This is from the heavens, people. You cannot be biased and say, oh, this is my friend, oh, this is my mochi, oh, this is my man, oh, this is my can. This has got no biasness in it. If you got it, you got it. And you cannot also misuse it, because otherwise you lose it, okay? But what for me is an important episode in my life about this is that I've came to discover that most of our parents that has died in the last 40 years, 30, 40 years, they had a very wrong understanding of what heaven was and what hell is, and where is Jannah and where is Jinnah and what is Jahannam. Their understanding is where they have to come back into a lower dimension, sometimes even lower than where they were before they exited. And now they have to come back and serve the very same thing that they hated. If you hate the Jew today, you come back to earth and you become a Jew, people, because you must pay the price. You had caused that entire reprisal upon you. The universe kicks you out. You can't go, you ghost. You become ghost because you have hate in you. You have a tendency, you have a component, you have a value system, a value table that does not resonate with the higher realms of reality in conscious, people, because you're going to another conscious field. But due to your stuck beliefs, due to your religious colonization of a god, which you believe is another nation's god, another nation's prophet, okay, that your understanding is very much out of the unfolding of a new version of how your next generations will understand where to find a higher realm of reality and not come back to a false light. Like many of our parents that died, when they come out of, as hulle uit die slootjie uitkom, as hulle nou uitgaan, then they see the light, hulle sien 'n light, okay? Maar hulle belief system is dat hulle gaan nou afgevra word, but hulle weet that they already served time in hell when they were punishing themselves. They cursed themselves. They brought it upon themselves. Now, they were fighting other nationalities, other religions, other gods. They become the devil themselves, fighting the other gods, religions, and other gods, political anomalies, and other gods, economic money magic spells. So when you and I look back at the last generation that was destroyed in 2019, 2020 in terms of conscious, you come to realize, but those people really are serving. That's why the world's population are increasing, because every time Allah collapses a conscious module of a civilization, and he says that they have to return back to Jahannam. Qala hal halim talati qala hal min mazid, because they were not liberated people. They are still serving in another county. Maybe they are going in Israel now, because that thing is never going to change. Nothing changes in Jahannam, people. Nothing changes in the physical. You're not here to change the physical. You can't even change yourself. How can you change someone else? Now, the impression that you gave your children was the cause of you being destroyed in the last psychologically, people. Qasam, billahi Quran. You don't understand what I'm saying in many regards, but that religious increments and belief systems that you imported into your cultural background, where you fought each other. Before there was no religion, everybody had harmony, everybody loved each other because they loved the Creator. But when you got a religion from another nation and you came in here in bits and pieces, you broke the house up, and then people started hating their very own because of other nationalities and other political and economic inconsistencies. Now, you left your children with a great doubt. You left us with a doubt here, because you made us believe that we are better than the next and heeltemal inferior to the next, because they know Allah better than we know Allah. They are more beloved to Allah than what we are beloved to Allah. So that inconsistency had caused your own self-destruction, people. Many of you, even if you die in the next 10 to 15 years, you're still going to come back here, because you could not uproot yourselves of that fatal lie. Okay? That's a terrible lie to tell your children in real time, people. There was no other way for your children but to tell Allah what the truth is, and that was the Haqq. Now, one of the names of Allah is Al-Haqq. Okay? Al-Haqq is Allah's word. It's Allah's Summiyah. Allah gave Himself that word, Al-Haqq, the truth. You don't need a religion if you speak the truth. You don't need a God if you speak the truth, if you know the truth, if you feel the truth, okay? But the moment you start compromising the truth, the moment you bring into the house foreign elements and magical spells, okay? Like what you did to your last generation to teach them about the sophistication of money, magic, okay? You never told us that Shaitan created it. You didn't tell us that it was an idol. We had to find out ourselves here, guys. Okay? I can't buy you off, guys. You must defend yourselves here, because each one is now by himself here. There's no blood relationships. There's no emotions here. There's only the truth now. This is Hada Yawmul Haqq. This is the age of the truth, that you are living in consciously, but unconsciously unaware of what is happening, because you are mostly outside in the bush, okay, distracted, okay. So those of us that stayed at home, those of us that reconciled our accounts, okay, balanced our books, audited our value tables, all right, realigned with our higher purpose and selves, okay. At the time when Moses, when Musa, when Khidr has to plummet your ship, okay, of conscious, of reality, nothing happened after 2020. All of us died in conscious. Our mothers, our fathers, our children, all of us died, people. Only those that could recalibrate a new path that Allah opened, that's the Fathan Mubina. They were the only survivors in this conscious age, okay? They were the only ones that could get a lift onto that mothership where they originated from, and they could now build a new house. If you don't have a plan, you can't build a house, people. Now, most of our mothers and our fathers, they had no plan. So they had to go and stay in the victor's house. Okay, they are staying in there. لا تتخذوا يعني عدوكم أولياء من دون المؤمنين. يعني do not يعني you went and found solace in a house where you don't belong, and that is where you found your God. That's not our God. That's not our truth. You must understand, your next civilization, your next generation, they passed over the fire that Allah made for Ibrahim, because we are the children of Ibrahim, the children of Ismail, the children of Ishaq. Okay, we are from that tribe, from that soul tribe. That's how we align. That's how we know ourselves. That's how we feel who we are. Okay, we can't erase it. We can't remove it. Allah will have to take it out of us, but that is who we are. Okay. Now, we don't align to specific isms, people. There was never religion in Jannah. There was always the deen Allah. It's always the deen, the truth. That was the deen. You had to be truthful. Even as the status, recognize. You must know you're doing the wrong thing. Okay, then you come back to the right thing. But to have brought about laws to justify the wrong and make it and fit it into the right garments, that's where the word believe came into your lives. Because belief has lie in it, but you don't know that your beliefs is lies. L-I-E, people. You can't deny it, you can't erase it, it's inside of you. The lie you live, the lie you believe is a belief that holds the lie. You can't take it out of your life. The God is even the lie because you believe it, and it's got the L-I-E in it. The lie is manifested in there, and you wrote it consciously. You cannot deny it. You're writing it since you're a child. So how you and I are going to how are we going to extract ourselves from that kind of modulation? As Allah says, what Allah warned us when He says, سَيُذَبِّحُونَ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَيَسْتَحْيُونَ نِسَاءَكُمْ وَفِي ذَلِكُمْ بَلَاءٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ عَظِيمٌ. Allah is so compassionate in this audition of a life stage, that He always tells you, kyk hier's kinders, kyk hier's my siele, kyk hier my harte. Ek gaan vir julle 'n bietjie 'n baie groot curveball gooi. You're going to lose your authenticity in the process. You're going to be given a hell of a spell. But I'm going to see whom of you are going to still remain awoken. My God, laat die religions oorgevat. Toe wat die religions oorvat, toe vat die governments oor en hulle print die geld en die religions maak dit halal. يحرمون ما أحل الله لك. Right? يا بني إسرائيل كل الطعام كان حلا لبني إسرائيل إلا ما حرم إسرائيل على نفسه. People, this is not from scholars. This is just from the normal human being. Those scholars became scholars of dollars. Those religious fraternities and countries and places, they cannot represent a God that they want to put onto you. If you know who you are, nobody can manipulate your God. Nobody can manipulate your higher realms. Nobody can seize your ability of reading your scrolls, your kitab. That's your sovereign right. That's your sovereign wealth. Okay? That is what our forefathers, our ancient tribes taught us, people. We didn't learn that in universities. That comes through your natural order. That comes from your fathers, mothers. It comes high up, okay? And you don't boast about it, and you don't show it to people. You be humble, you be modest, you be nothing. You mustn't have an ego. You mustn't think you are quiet. You're going to lose it if you have that kind of ability, because then your heart is not going to find the peace that you need. in order to reciprocate the data and the upgrades and the balancing and the auditing when it's time for us to come home. Okay? Now, we are on that path. That's our sabil. We're not fearing to go back to Allah. We love to go back to Allah because it's going back to the truth, the haqq, just the haqq. Okay? We don't hate any human being, people. ربنا لا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا. We don't hate. We can't go into this next phenomena of a evolution of the expansion of conscious and spiritual realities if we have one atom of hate. Now, how many of you have hate out there? How many? Even your priestess are actually promoting hate. They promote these things. Which gods do they serve? Huh? They don't make sense to us. That doesn't make sense to us, people. It's putting up people against each other, and at the end of the day, my mother, my father must come back because they thought that they did a good deed for God, but in fact, they just increased their likelihood of returning back and serving sentences in hell. Okay? Now, what religion tells you these kind of things? What God wants to mislead you unless you put your trust in human beings and you forgot and you killed al-wakil. You killed the wakil. You killed the real wakil. Okay? You did not make and find who is the wakil. So you went and killed your wakil. Okay? That is what happened. Your children are doing analysis of your lifestyles in the last 100 years as a civilization. We're taking AI, we're putting your lifestyles, your beliefs, everything in it, because AI is not biased. And AI is telling you everything where these people messed up. It's telling you everything, how biased, how they were used, how they were. We're not speaking in personal capacity. We're speaking of an entire civilization. You're not speaking about my biological. We are speaking of everybody that has in the past civilization not made it into this new psychological transition. Okay? So we have to come up with a plan for all the children, not just for the Muslim children, people, because what the Muslims claimed was just a brand. They're a brand, but they don't know what Islam means. They are just being manipulated by Arabs, which they don't know because they're coming back to be their servants. They're coming to be again back to reserve their currencies in the black cube and in the White House. Okay? So your children, you had to do the impossible to get themselves out of that curse that you had comfortably put them in there, and still mastering and championing a cause you have no idea, but your children has defined your core. Okay? Your children knows that you are the idolaters that caused the heaven to destroy the conscious of the last planet. Okay? As blind as you are now, trying to strive to bring in that same God that you killed 6 years ago, it's difficult for your children to accept it because the heaven's mother, the great mother, has already stamped. You are past. You're a past conscious age. You're not going to fulfill. You're not going to get your children in this present time conscious upgrade. They're not going to recognize you. You're going to disappear from their reality. You're not going to be with Al-Haq. You can must say Allah, people. You can must say Jesus. You can must say, but you have to start understanding that Allah, if you cannot apply Al-Haq to it, then anybody can say Allah. Okay? You had to find the refined purpose so that you can find the Haq. You never say the word Haq. Say Allah's word Al-Haq. It is foreign to you. Why? Your children didn't pick it up from you. You can't lie at this stage, people. You must get that out of you. There's no way that you can change the books here, man. Okay? The books is all in its place. The audit has taken place already, لا يغادر صغيرة ولا كبيرة إلا أحصاها. Everything is there. Your children is there. Now your children are getting the upgrade, the next generation, the digital children, and their diagnostics is how your results are going to show. And that is how the great mother will be ousting you from the house. Because as 'n moeder uitvind wat die groot mense gedoen het aan die kinders, what do you think is that mother going to do? What's that energy going to do? What's that present conscious going to do? She's going to terminate your services, people. Once you don't come to terms with the fact that it is not because of what you did, it's what you did not do. That is what caused the destruction of your civilization, without you even coming to terms with what happened to you. But your children knows. Now, your children has to then engage with a new set of values, a new version, edition, series for a higher conscious of intellectual relevance will be now accessed in the scriptures, in the revealed scriptures. Okay, they will now be the carriers of the wisdom, that they would be able to analyze what was the meaning, what is the meaning of that by the sound alignment. Only sound now. Meaning, lugha, language is messed up. We already know what the language represents. We already know it is magical spells. We know Fir'aun created your language, and that is the same language that you took pride in bringing your children into Allah's house. It's finished. The game is finished. You are still struggling. Okay? Your children are much more advanced than what you are thinking, people, to be honest with you, because of the majority of human beings having forfeited their sovereign right, their sovereign haq, their sovereign wealth, their sovereign space. Okay? Just a few years, 30 years, it was shown to you a bit of money, a little bit of running around crazy. And we lost everything. You lost everything. You thought everything is real. You couldn't find the house. You couldn't come inside. Okay, you couldn't realize how the diagnostics works, how the human mind works, how the human heart, how the organs, how the human functions, how the ages is cycled, how the evolution of life is staged. How do you go into the phase of death? Our parents, we saw them, they're afraid of death. They're afraid of nature. They're afraid of Allah. They're afraid of the haq. Now, what must we tell Allah? Allah, hy's mos 'n klompie hypocrites, man. Hulle het mos ko kanse vat hierso om hulle eie kinders in die Jahannam te laat tam. Okay? Dan kry hulle net 'n halal certificate om te sê dit is Sharia compliant. You know, if we must really be shameful for what we've done. Wallahi, thumma wallahi. You are still boastful. You are still going on, carrying on as if nothing happened. Your children are ashamed. That's the worst of all. Your children are ashamed. We feel it, people. We feel it. Okay? We're quiet, but we speak to Allah. Allah doesn't know a nation. Allah doesn't know a race. Allah doesn't know a religion. Allah knows the heart, man. Now we know that, but now we see how saturated our parents are, how they're fighting people that doesn't exist outside. It only exists due to their improper biasness, okay? Their blindness, their greed, their guilt, their doubt. Now, there's nothing that Ibrahim can do except to tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that him and his family must be freed because Muhammad is coming. Okay? You can't be caught up in that net and still believe in something like called Muhammad. You don't make sense to your children, guys. You are caught up in that idolatry and you cannot exit it. and it is part of your blood now. Khalas, it is inside of your system. You can't, irji'u ila masakinikum. It has overpowered your brain cells here, guys. Okay, Allah is the most merciful. We're just thinking how the human mind works and how to overcome it so that our next generations are not so unfortunate as what our parents were, where they landed up and having to serve another few lifetimes in hell. Okay? We don't want that for our children, our next generation, because we know who our great ancestors are. We know where we come from. And we know that there's no way they're going to allow us back home if we do not fulfill our covenant. Okay? We must identify to them not what a secondary God is, not what an Arab God is, a Vatican God is, a Jewish God is. Tell them they know. We must just put the light on and they will know who they are. They will know who Allah is. They would be able to tell us better than what we think we know, because they are much more purer than what we think they are. Okay? They come from the ruh of Allah, people. Okay? So, subhanallah, it is important that you and I come to terms with the truth. The haqq is not easy, people. Wallahi, it's not to serve myself. It's not to serve you. It's not to make me a rich man. It's not to make me a poor man. It's here to make us free. We have to free ourselves from this, because it's your ruh that is captured, not your physical body. Your physical body is not you, man. That's your ego. That's what you were educated. That's where our parents lost the plot. Okay? That's where they had that inferior complex. That's where they had to be between the white and the black and running to try and free people from something which they were never going to be freed out, because they never believed in akhirah. La aishata illa aishata al-akhirah. We knew what akhirah is, man. You are still kind of waiting to find out what is going to happen out of death. You are already in akhirah. You're already in that altered state of conscious, but you just were not given the right of pass. Okay? Your children saw the whole movie playing out here, man. Okay? Now, there's no biasness, people. If you die, there's no family. You don't have family if you die. Jou vrou gaan weer trou, jou man gaan weer trou, jou dogter gaan weer aan met hulle liewe. Wat 'n familie praat julle van? Dis nie die waarheid wat bly, man. Dit nie waarheid wat gaan staan. Daai is die mense wat van jou soul tribes van die begin tot na sy weer huis toe gaan. That's your true family. That's your ashira, we call it. Okay? Now, you don't fight in this earth. We don't fight. We spell people. We do the spelling. In other words, we find the truth and we tell it to Allah from our hearts to Allah's heart. Okay? From our mother's hearts, from our mother's heart, from our motherboard to Allah's board. Okay? To Allah's universe. If there's a synchronicity, we get upgraded, people. We know. Only you know. You don't have to show people this. This is a journey that takes you into the unknown. Okay, that's what we call Hajj. That was and that is the real Hajj. Okay, that's the real Hajj. Not to go and seek for forgiveness and still doubt. No, when the heavens chooses you to go on that trip, you can't choose by yourself. And the trip means that you have to abstain and have to get rid of all the shirk that has ever dominated your lives and that gods. Okay, you cannot return back to that lifestyle. You cannot believe in that false idolic dead faces on that paper. Okay, you cannot live into created worlds any longer. You cannot eat that which is just certified halal, but it's full of chemicals. Okay, you can't. You must change your patterns, people, man. Now, when you see your parents continuously camouflaging and cosmetically playing a coloring game on a book, then you know, man, you know what? These guys has lost the plot, man. These guys, yani, they've purchased them another ticket back into back into hell. Okay, so the earthly, the physical world, the physical reality, the lowest density, the lowest level of a conscious journey as you evolve, yani, is where, yani, you have to justify yourself and pay your way through in order to get to the next fabricated reality, not the natural reality. Now, currently, we see the sentence that is being passed on our past generations, our parents now, the sentence that yani the universe, the reality, the conscious is sending them, they're going to go into a full blast digital hell experience. Okay? Because that is artificial, people. That's artificial gods that's waiting for your father and your mother. Okay? Why? Because they gave their children the wrong addresses. Now they have to serve it again. They're gonna go the next time when they leave the dunya, then they go to Israel. Then they must look at the other nations that's fighting them, because that story is a perpetual story because of the 4 and the 8, man. Okay? That's the Tis'ata Ashar. Okay? Your religious fraternity, they made a business out of God, and you are suffering the consequences, and your children and your children had to report you because they couldn't take another generation down the same walk that you in a past civilization has taken. There's no way you can make them suffer twice, man. It's not real. Okay. Anyway, it's now Maghrib now. It's gonna be Thursday. It's gonna be Jummah night tonight. These are things that's happening in real time, people. We live in conscious, not in unconscious. Whatever's happening in the conscious is happening. It's whether we are on the boat or not. But what's happening there is real, because Allah is not in the Jahannam. Allah is in the Jannah. Okay, Allah is there where there is life, not there where we are residing in death. Okay. So inshallah ta'ala, there's a lot of things happening in the same time, on the political front, on the economic fronts, on the digital fronts. I see AWS is having a major seminar in Johannesburg this week. So people, everything is aligning up. Everything, all the work has been done already. Whatever needed to be done, now the heavens has to take her purpose. She has to serve her purpose, okay? Because this is it's a heavenly promise, man. This reconciliation, this calibration, it's heavenly, honey. It's going to go back to the children of the authentic tribes of earth that knows who they are, not those who follows false gods and prays to false institutions. People, your children knows it. You know, I must tell you, I'm honest, I'm saying the truth. You cannot prove them wrong. It's impossible. You're going to have to find a foreigner to come in and make your child feel differently, while Allah has already deposited the truth in his DNA, in his intellectual, psychological stability. So, unless you teach them how to become how to become successful on money, wees vir hulle hoe hulle selfs in die Jahannam op te sluit. That's what the previous civilization did, and that's why Allah destroyed them completely. Okay. The truth of conscious was, we only live in conscious. It's difficult even now for us to explain to our parents, like, ons is maar net conscious beings, man. It's technical. It's not technical, man. God, you're 55 years old by now. You should must at least have had your own keys to go to where you need to go. Môre kom dood en waar staan jy because jou ma of jou pa het gesê sulke dinge. Nee, God Allah, man. Dis mos by tyd dat julle moet gaan kry die hak, man. En lewe met die hak. En wys julle kinders wat die hak is. Nie die wat die last generation gekoos het vir hulle kinders om te wys waar hulle is vandag. في نار جهنم خالدين فيها أبدا. That was not the contract that we came here with. That's why we verified it and we read the fine print. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. We found the great Mother's Day. Jazakallah khairan. Enjoy your iftar this evening, your buka. And have a beautiful first. It's going to be the first of Rabiul Awwal on Monday, inshallah. في أمان الله وكل عام وأنتم بخير والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
يا مصطفى كل شيء لله يا نورا من نور الله يا مصطفى